This is Chris, and he runs ads to get clients for his content studio and short form agency. But the problem is that like 99% of agency owner, the ads suck. So I sat down with him to literally roast his ads and rebuilt his entire campaign from scratch so we can get high quality clients on autopilot. And if you're an agency owner, this video will show you what you're probably doing wrong and how to fix it. Meaning you make more money and you have more clients coming in every month. And this is the exact same strategy that I use to generate over $3 million for my agency. Let's hop in.
Okay, cool. So I'm pretty much gonna run you through how I do my ads right now from beginning to start, my thought process, and just kind of we'll take it from there, and then you can kind of let me know your thoughts and opinions. So first thing I do is I just kind of come to the Meta Business Suite homepage. From here, I'll go directly into the ads.
Wait, you're running your ads in Meta Business Suite?
Yeah.
Go on.
So I run it through the Meta Business Suite, and pretty much I'll go into this section of the ads part of it. I'm not sure if this is like the ad manager or whatever, but this is where I run it. And for instance, we actually only been doing this one specific ad video, which is this one. And normally what I would do is I would click boost again. I would do a couple of things. So I would do a combination of the get more messages, get more profile visits, or get more website visitors. For the website visitors, I would always put our main website, and the more messages in the profile, it would be to our Instagram. And then user audience has been, so this one I guess is just no audience, but we normally do content marketing, age 18 to 65. We'll do location Miami, 45 miles, and then it would normally be content marketing. In terms of interest, again, we've tested a couple. That's the issue we have, is that we don't technically really know what works, what doesn't work. I've kind of go based on the views and the impressions and the link clicks or profile visits. That's kind of what I've been based on. So that's just kind of for you to know. And then boom, I would run it for basically about a week. And then usually my data or what I would calculate or see would be based on what got most views or link clicks. That's what I would consider a winning ad or something that performed well. And then I would just keep boosting it and boosting it and boosting it. That's my process from start to finish.
All right. So Chris, if you learn one thing from me in this sit down meeting we're having right now, never boost a fucking reel again. Okay. I swear to God. If you're boosting reels, you're lighting your money on fire.
Got it.
Like that's, as an advertiser, that breaks our heart at the end of the day. So I'll show you a couple of reasons why. Let me kind of take over and let's talk about it. So the main thing is you mentioned is like, you're like, hey, how do I really quantify which ones actually work, which ones are performing and which ones aren't? Because when you're boosting your performance, you're boosting ads, it's nice for like beginners to kind of get out there and feel like they're running ads a little bit, but it leaves a lot of the back end really cool stuff we can do in the full ads manager. So the biggest thing we want to do is switch over to the ads manager. But before I do, I want to tell you why this is so important. So right here, you will notice all you can really see is views, reach, and link clicks. Yep. You know, these numbers don't really matter because you're just looking at, again, views, reach, and link click, which is very superficial metrics. Yep. We want to track, you know, cost per schedule, cost per lead, and cost per conversion on the back end. These are the more advanced metrics that are really important to tracking performance of ads. Because you can have an ad that's going out to 15,000 people but leads to 0 sales. Got it. Which is very important. So we want to see what ads actually translate to leads and appointments, but more so what ads actually translate to sales at the end of the day.
So are you saying on the ads manager you can actually basically track it or see the metrics you need to know what is actually generating sales?
Absolutely. So there's a couple ways to do it. For you, if you're doing a direct conversion on the landing page, like say they're booking into the studio and they're paying on that page, once they pay, they hit a thank you page, right? Yeah. Once they hit that thank you page, you can trigger in the pixel and say, hey, this person booked a call, so it will know exactly who booked in a sale from the ads, which is a very, very advanced way to know where your actual money is going and who it is targeting to actually converts at the end of the day. But again, you don't even see the middle tier metrics, which is like cost per lead, cost per book call. So the biggest thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to move over to Ads Manager. So right when we move over to Ads Manager, now we can see a little bit more data when we go over to the campaign section. So you want to bookmark this, and anytime you look at your ads, you look at them from the Ads Manager like an advanced marketer. And trust me, it can look a little bit overwhelming to a lot of people in the beginning, but as you stare at the screen more and more, it will start to align and you'll get these metrics down. But you see right now when we switch to that, we can track cost per result. So cost per result is like, what are we telling Facebook that we want to accomplish in these ads? Clicks are nice, but like, do we actually want leads? Do we actually want booked calls? Do we actually want conversions and them to pay for our service right there on the page? And this cost per result will be able to quantify these metrics, because you can have ads that lead to, hey, this one has way more clicks, right? And this cost per click is 0.29. This one had less clicks, but it had a lower cost per click. So cost per result is a nice way to quantify which ad sets are working. Because right now you're doing a very low educated guess as to what's working right now.
Yeah.
So the first thing is we are moving over to Ads Manager. We're running everything here. Now when we run ads inside of the Ads Manager, we can create a lot more dynamic campaigns and tell Facebook some more advanced stuff that we want it to do. So the second thing that we want to do now is we want to decide, what do we actually want Facebook to have these people that are clicking on our ad do? Do we want them to fill out a lead form? Do we want them to send a DM? Do we want them to book a call? Or do we want them to purchase on our website? What do you think out of those is the actual conversion mechanism that you would like to happen from Facebook ads?
I guess I'll ask you, for the way we have it set up right now, right? It's a content studio with our website. We don't really have the whole book a call sequence I would love to have like set up right now. So do you think second best thing would be to have it to do DMs where we can actually nurture them and set them and eventually push them to go do a booking? So do you think that's what we should push or we should do?
I think DMs are nice as like a middle tier option. I think the gold standard at the end of the day will be like book call funnels, or with you, they can sign up for the studio directly and pay on that page. So we'll want to definitely get into that. Now, if we set up the conversion on the page, we'll have to set up the pixels, so it'll take a little bit more time. But I think for the sake of like this video, DM ads we can get running immediately by the end of this video.
Okay.
And then you're not just boosting posts wondering what you're tracking, you can actually see what is my cost per DM. And then not only, hey, what ads are performing better, but once you get a gauge of what your KPI is overall, you can see when ads start to rise in costs, and then you need to make your optimizations and tweaks. Because now you are literally just like throwing darts at a dartboard in a black room and just guessing where your ads are going. So from the top, what we can do is we can kind of set up, one of these. So let me break down the ad set here really quick. Right now you can see, you have your campaign right up here, which is like the overall type of campaign that you're trying to run. You have your ad set, and then you have your ad. So this is your campaign level, this is your ad set level, and this is your actual ad level. So the campaign, you can see right here, is Instagram post. It was a boosted post, so it'll show the name like this. I usually title these like funnel ads, DM ads, book or call ads, something like that. And you can see under campaign details that the campaign objection right now is traffic.
Yep.
So I typically never run ads to this objective because it's literally just going to drive as many clicks as possible. But we don't want just clicks. We want quality people to respond and move to a more advanced stage like a DM or a book call.
So do you think for traffic being the campaign objection, Facebook will literally just push kind of whoever, or like it's not really going to push the proper traffic, people who are actually going to buy. It's just like pretty much anybody or whatever interest I put.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to have more back-end, more advanced metrics, because when you just run traffic, again, Facebook is just optimized to get as many people to click on your ad as possible, which is not always cohesive. Versus if we can see who books a call, who actually DMs, then Facebook, that's a more advanced step. So it's more likely that your ideal customer is going to hit those more advanced steps, and then Facebook can retarget those people.
Yeah.
So absolutely important as well. So campaign budget is definitely something that we're going to adjust here. Now I want to go into the ad set level. See, this one is again where it holds you to these boosted posts, and once you get into that field, they want to cut off all that other back end shit. So literally, ads created on Instagram as boost coast can't even be edited as ads manager because it's a whole other ball game. So you won't even be able to see this data. So we're just gonna have to start from the top, which totally okay. So to start from the top here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the campaign section and we're gonna create. So now this is where you choose a campaign objective. Usually, most of the time, you're gonna do leads, right? Sometimes there's very certain situations where you can even go to sales. If you're going more e-commerce or you're going like back-end conversions on a website, like them directly purchasing from you. But 90% of the time, most people these days are gonna run leads. So this is where you can say conversions, calls, Instagram, or you can go instant forms. So we're going to go leads for this one as well from the top here. And then now we have a couple more things to play around with. So from the top, what we can do is we can do, let's say, DMs campaign. So we again decided that we're going to probably go more towards a DMs campaign setup, which is going to be important too. Now let me just check something right here. So now we set up DMs campaign on the campaign level. You don't have to worry about campaign budget. We're not going to get into that. Literally just DMs campaign, leads, and then we're good to go. Now we're going to go into ad set level. So the ad sets level is usually where you're testing audiences, right? So the campaign is just, hey, we want DMs. The ad set is usually where you test audiences. So what we're gonna do for the sake of this one is I wanna start with just an open audience. There's 4 types of audiences that you can test on Facebook ads. There's open, which means you don't have any interest stacks, which is like, what you saw earlier, it was content marketing.
Yeah.
That's like an interest stack.
Yeah.
Open is like nothing under there. So you set an age bracket. And trust me, a lot of times those crank. Because if you have creative that has a good call out and says, hey, are you a business owner in the Miami area that's looking to shoot content? Usually people that are business owners in the Miami area that shoot content are going to be the ones that respond to that ad.
Got it.
So,
and then would Facebook read that data and be like, oh, it's these type of people and push it more to that type of people?
Yes. Because anytime you launch an ad on Facebook and you launch it in the ads manager, what the algorithm will do is they'll show your ad to a bunch of people. They'll see who responds to your ad, and they'll essentially create a lookalike audience of those people. Say, hey, all these people responded to those ads, so all these people have X things in common, so let's only show ads to these people that have X things in common.
Got it.
And here's the thing. Facebook ads have 52,000 data points on every single Facebook and Instagram account. Oh. So they know what you know. They know about you more than you know about you, essentially. It's pretty freaking nuts. So there's open targeting. We let Facebook kind of do its thing. There's broad targeting, which is like, hey, let's do every ad set interest we can think of. Let's do content marketing, video editing, social media. Let's do business owners. So that's really broad.
Does that ever work?
Everything. Yeah. The important thing is every niche is different.
Got it.
So I know I've seen the back end to hundreds of ad accounts. And I can tell you right now, there's some ad accounts where open is the only thing that cranks. There's some ad accounts where interests crank. There's some ad accounts where a very broad interest stack or very specific interest stacks work.
Got it.
So for example, like if you're an agency owner and you run a med spa agency, it's open targeting works the best right now. For our Chiro agency, we can target exactly chiropractic owners in Facebook. So it's very important when you run ads to have the, understanding and the expectations of I'm going to test and figure things out. But overall, most of the time, you guys can get away with going open. If you have a good creative that calls out your person, you can have Facebook and the almighty algorithm that knows a lot more than us find those people, which is pretty important.
Got it.
So We're going to do open right now to just start. And then this is where I'll usually put in like demographics. So maybe I do like 24 to 60, something like that. I would also list out like US if we're just going US. Or for you, it would be like Miami and then the radius link, which is like, let's say 10 miles or 12 miles or 15 miles.
Let's do 20 miles.
Let's do 20 miles. Is that what you were doing when you boosted posts?
I was doing 41 miles, but I don't know if that's...
I think with this one, you can also see, as we update the ad targeting, you'll be able to see your estimated audience size here on the right.
Got it.
So this will show you when we start making these adjustments, how many people actually meet that criteria that we just mentioned.
Got it.
So this is really interesting.
But sometimes it doesn't even matter, because sometimes just because you have more people doesn't mean it's always going to be a winner, or, you know, or I'm assuming, right? Like, it doesn't matter the audience, because sometimes you can have a small audience, but it works better.
Exactly. And we don't want to just necessarily like cast the widest net possible. If you do have some data points, or you have somebody that's like more experienced with running ads and knows what they're doing, they can say like, hey, let me make Facebook's job easier, and say like, hey, we typically only work with people in this age to this age that speak this language, they're in this location, and they're this gender. And then that immediately cuts it down from, 330 million plus people in the US down to now we have a few million.
Got it.
So that's the naming convention. Open, age, Miami area, 20 miles usually.
Yep.
Now, right here, this is the conversion location. So this is what we want to happen, right? It's going to either be a few things. We either send them to a website where they directly convert. You don't have that set up yet. You don't have the funnels 100% locked in. So right now we can start with two things, which is either instant forms or an Instagram direct. I think Instagram direct is going to be a lot better, because then you can just crank this right now really quickly.
What's instant forms?
So instant forms is where, like, if you ever clicked on an ad and then Facebook pops up and it's like, put in your name, phone number, and email, and it auto populates.
Got it.
On Facebook, that's an instant form.
What would that be beneficial for? Or why would people choose that?
There's a couple stages. What I would say is like Instagram DM ads will get you a very high amount of volume, and then you have a conversation with them. If you have lead forms, or, book calls, it's usually when you have somebody that can call those leads. So you either have a setter or a closer, or you are time available to be able to call those leads.
So that would be more, you have some sort of close, or your sales process involves some sort of process where somebody calls them, they would fill out the instant form, someone calls them within 2 minutes, and then whatever.
Exactly.
Sales process kicks in, got it.
So for you, I do know that, like, a little background information, that you do have a DM setter, correct?
Yeah.
So this is the easiest one that I think that will start out, and then definitely want to move towards DM ads to instant form to website, and the website's always a gold standard.
Got it.
100%.
So the goal is to get the funnel dialed into where website is fully dialed in, where they can go directly there.
Yeah, because usually the way that I like to think about it is like, again, be patient when you're running ads, guys. Be able to spend a little bit more, be patient, but you want to start more with volume. Like, hey, how do I get flooded with leads? Like, how do I get more leads than I could possibly handle? Okay, now I have 500 messages a day. I have 50 messages a day. I physically can't respond to these. So what if I just take, instead of 50 messages a day, what if I just get 10 qualified good leads? And then you move to an instant form.
Got it.
Now, instead of 10 qualified booked leads, what if I just got 3 booked calls on my calendar?
Got it.
So now you can kind of filter them down and scale it up.
Sense.
So it depends on where you're at in your sales process, what team members you have available, and, what resources you set up, and looping them to a CRM, go high level, things like that. Like with instant forms, you're going to need a CRM. With website, you're going to need funnels. So they're more advanced stages, but this can get you volume immediately.
Got it.
Usually I'm always like, dude, if you come into my program as an agency owner, I'm like, website funnels. Because I can give them a snapshot of a GHL funnel that's like a basic survey funnel.
Yeah.
And then they can book calls pretty instantaneously.
Got it.
But that's in like an agency model.
Got it.
So if you're running ads for agency, website, book a call.
100%.
When you run ads for your agency, we'll set that up for you. But for the content studio, it's a little bit more dynamic. They might have a few questions that they want to ask. So this can be a good one for you.
Got it. So, question. For the agency side of things, you would probably say never to go Instagram Direct, or would you test and do one for website and then one for Instagram Direct, or all in on website?
Dude, you can test it, but like I personally, I would not. I don't want to manage 100 DMs every day.
Got it.
I would rather have hyper qualified people book 8-10 calls a day on my calendar.
Got it. Got it.
Because then it's like they're hyper qualified, they're booked in on my calendar. I can bury the really good leads, because usually if you have 50 leads a day, you're getting bogged down, you're not following up with them, you're not calling them as much as you should be. You're not able to call them within 5 minutes.
Got it. That makes sense.
So again, it's like kind of the balance points that we go through along
That makes
here.
sense.
All right, so we named the ad set, we have the conversion location. And then one thing we really need to do really quick, this takes 2 seconds, we need to accept your terms and conditions. Because now we're about to run some ads.
Real ads.
Some real ads. Performance goal, always by default, maximum number of leads. This is where you can set cost per result. I usually don't do this, especially in the beginning where you don't actually know what your cost per result is.
So what would you normally do? Like if you
Keep it open.
Oh, every time?
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
So even if you know the data, you just always leave that open?
Yeah, this is more like, it's more aligned when you have an e-commerce brand and say you're like, hey, my product margin is $100. I can only spend $50 to acquire a customer. So you say, do not spend more than that.
Got it.
Again, it's a variable thing, but don't worry about that for the most part. Let's keep it simple. All right, daily budget. Now this is something interesting. A lot of people ask me like, how much should I spend a day on ads? The correct answer is as much as you possibly fucking can. But like if you learn anything, is spend more money on ads.
Got it.
Especially when you have a proven system that makes you money from ads, spend as much as you possibly can.
Got it.
When I was at like 10K a month with my agency and I had crack paid ads, I knew that I was like, dude, I can compound so much faster if I just get more. And I took out a $5,000 Stripe loan. I went from $10,000 to $32,000 the next month.
Wow.
True story. Not financial advice.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I did.
So question.
Yeah.
Say someone like me, right, who's just doing it from scratch, has not much data. Would you still say, hey, spend more to collect more data quicker to then adjust and pivot, or start slow and then grow it from there?
Yeah, dude. Again, it's like two things. It's one, your actual physical budget that you have available, like how much you're willing to spend.
Yeah.
And then two is like your risk tolerance.
Got it.
Because the more you spend, the quicker you will get data.
Got it.
You know, in the beginning, maybe if you're really hesitant, maybe just $100 a day, $50 a day, $100, $200 a day to figure things out, get consistent. And then now like, okay, now I'll do a big spike up.
Got it.
But what I do, say I'm going to spend $300 a day on ads.
Yeah.
The first 2 to 4 days, I'll spend $900 a day. Because I'm going to launch a ton of ad sets. I'm going to launch a ton of data.
Yeah.
And then once I have spent $900 a day for 2 to 4 days, now I have some winners that are getting a really good cost per result. So I can turn off all the underperformers. And now my $300 a day is going to proven winning ad sets.
Got it.
So again, some good stuff.
Got it.
But as the daily budget for this ad set, right? This is just the daily budget for this ad set. This is not the overall budget for your entire campaign, right?
Yeah.
So your daily budget, as a general rule of thumb, it needs to be more than 1x cost per conversion.
Okay.
So say your cost per DM is $20. It needs to be $20 or above. That's a very important thing to note, because if your cost per DM is $50 and your daily budget is $20, it's going to break. It's not going to be able to get one conversion a day, and it's just going to break and end up getting too expensive.
Got it.
So with DM ads, you're going to get anywhere from like $2 to $10 per DM, maybe a little bit higher if it's more qualified. This is maybe a local area, so maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think 20 is a good one.
Yep.
I'm probably going to increase though to 25. I just like the easy math on that. So that like 25 per ad set, I can run up 4 is 100. It's just easy math.
Yep.
Start date, you can just start it right when you're ready to rock and roll on the paid ads. So this will be
So,
for right
question
now.
with the start date. A lot of people say certain days are best to start. Like I think I've heard like, Sundays or Mondays, something like that, or I forgot. But is there certain days that actually work better than others?
Let me ask you, Chris, how many times has somebody asked you like, oh, is it the best time of day to post? What's usually your answer to that question?
I use them not really.
Exactly. Why? Because it's more important than you actually just what?
Post it. Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with ads. The biggest thing is just post it. A
Got it.
lot of people do. That is a common thing I get to with like local businesses. They'll be like, oh, should I pause my ads on the weekend kind of thing? Don't. Just let them run 24/7, 365. You don't have to get that complicated.
Got it.
If your ads are pausing, starting, and bouncing around, it's just
Yes. It's,
too complicated.
got it. Just keep it simple.
The one thing that some people do is some people do run their ads at midnight, so it starts a full day cycle.
Yeah.
I just launch my ads. That's
Got it.
personally what I do. You can run them at midnight.
You set an end date, or did you just let them keep running?
No, we let them keep running until we turn them off.
Got it.
So an end date is good if, like, say you have an event,
Yeah, it makes sense.
and you're running ads for an event. But most of the time, you're going to run these indefinitely,
Got
right?
it. Just don't forget about them.
Yeah, just don't forget about them. But you'll see those bills come up on your card, so you won't forget about them for sure. So we keep the end date open. Budget scheduling, again, we don't touch that. That's one thing where you can like play around with on, high demand periods or not running your ads on the weekends kind of stuff. But again, we do not touch that.
Got it.
So we're going to run our ads 24/7, 365. Now we get into the fun stuff too, which is audience controls.
Yep.
So this is where we tell in Facebook who we want to go in and target. So you see by default, it's already going to people that use Instagram in the US, which is 160 million people.
Got it.
So obviously we don't want to run our ads to 160 million people.
Yep.
So you can go right here, you can click show more options, and you can do a couple things. Here's the 3 things that I do right off the bat, right? The first thing that we're going to do is obviously the location. This is the most important thing. So we need to set the actual location of the ads. So there's a couple things you can do here. Usually for a local business, like you have a studio location, usually what I do is I'll run ads within a set radius of your specific location.
Got it.
What's your studio's address?
So it's 1657 North Miami Ave.
This one right here.
Yep.
Okay. So you see by default, we added in your
Actual address.
studio's address, and then now we have a 10-mile radius, so it'll make this bubble.
Yep.
So there's something cool that you can do too. Something that I like to double check, and gets a little bit nerdy, but there's something called like Justice Map. So what you can do is you can see high income zip codes in your area. So we can go in to literally like target by income, and you'll see here in the bottom left that it will show you the income levels, and then from there we can go in and target. So it's just something that's nice to note. So obviously, like in Miami, you get along like this Miami Beach area, you get like obviously Brickell, downtown area, but then you go over here and the income drops off.
Yeah.
So this is something to note. Right now we're going to start you out with a big radius, but if you notice that from the ads you get a little bit lower quality people, this is something that we might want to implement, where we can literally go and zip code target. So we can target all these good guys right here.
Oh, so you can even niche it down all the way to like just zip code.
Yeah. We can do city, we can do zip code, we can do a radius of 10 miles.
Could you do like if you really? Oh yeah, so
US.
zip code is probably just a couple of block or like a couple of streets, whatever. So yeah, so you can get really nitty, like or really picky with who you want to target.
Yeah, which is probably something that we'll want to test with you, because like, you probably want to avoid some of these areas, but then you see like, all right, this is all money right here.
Yeah.
But you see for right now, we're gonna make it not as complicated, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna go in a set radius. Because
Got
right now, 10 miles that covers a lot. I mean, that goes all the way to Hialeah.
And if you're running let's say the agency, right? For example, would the zip code or the area matter where you're running to?
Great question. It's all of the U.S.
Okay.
If you handle any other countries, so if you handle Canada, UK, so right here, instead of just running from a 10-mile radius around your specific studio, you would just run all of US.
All of US, got it. So then for an agency model, it's obviously an online business. The obviously the city doesn't matter. It's just all US. It's just mainly the interest you pick is the most important.
Exactly. So I imagine most of the people watching this are going to be running agencies, so they're probably going to be wanting to go, countrywide, and then for their clients, they find their client's address and do a radius around the clients.
Got it.
Because you have a local business that is the predominant thing that we're trying to push up. So this is interesting. This is usually where I ask a question, right?
Yep.
You see the minimum age is set by 18.
Yep.
So I usually ask the question of like, who's the youngest person? What's the youngest person that's came into your studio or that's bought a service from you? What's the youngest age? Has it been 18?
It's pretty much 18, yeah, because there's a lot of like younger entrepreneurs in Miami that love doing content. So I would say there's a lot of younger guys for sure.
Great question. So I think we're going to keep that as a minimum age of 18.
Yep.
For right now, because you're right, there's a lot of those people as well. And if you want to cut that, you can change the age at any time. We can also go to more like original audience options and really hard set it to like 18 to 40.
Got it.
Something like that, right?
Got it.
So that's a good question to know. But obviously, like for us, if we're targeting doctors in my Cairo agency, I'm not going to set it to 18 because they couldn't even graduate college and be a doctor.
Got it.
So
and I guess the reason you would do that is because it would burn money. You'd be wasting money targeting like younger people per se.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now, just as a quick reference point too, we went from a 10-mile radius. Look at what that did to the audience size.
Boom.
So now it's 1.5 to 1.8, which is still considerably large audience.
Yeah.
Like
I wouldn't even think it was that much.
Yeah, it's pretty dense. But if it's above 1 million, I'm good to go and run ads on it.
Got it. So I guess to ask you with the audience size, so even for an agency model or online business model, you're trying to hit for 1 million more plus? Or
As a generalized rule, yes. But dude, if you have like a look-alike list, like you have a really good scraped list of all of the dentists in America, because there's not 1 million dentists in America, then you might want to run something like that. So there is some niche specific things, but yours is a little bit more broader range in terms of the people you can help, so you can go a little bit broader.
Got it.
Right? But if I'm just targeting chiropractors, there's not 1 million chiropractors in the U.S.
There's less?
There's less. It's like 70,000.
Got it.
Or so. So my audience sizes will be a couple 100,000 because I do let it go a little bit broader sometimes.
Got it.
Okay. So estimated audience size is cut back. Another thing that we want to see right here is languages. So this is a really commonly overlooked thing where a lot of people will like not adjust this and they'll be like, why am I getting all these people who speak Spanish opting into my ads? I know, you speak Spanish?
I do speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the other question though is like, do you want the Spanish speaking clientele to come into the studio?
Got it. So I guess, tell me this, what's the pros and cons if I wanted to do just English or English and Spanish?
So don't get me canceled on this one, but English is typically a better quality clientele. Not sometimes though. There's, Spanish, we run ads to Spanish speaking people and they do very well. They're cash-based patients for a lot of my clients.
Got it.
So it's something that you will kind of notice. I think the big thing overall is just make sure to cut it down to the languages that you can actually service. So you can only service people that speak English and people that speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So with languages, we don't want to run ads to Chinese.
Sorry to cut you off there. So it's interesting. So I agree. I think with like agencies or anything else, obviously just probably one language because there's a big barrier there to entry. But with the studio, technically, we have actually a decent amount of people who don't speak, not they speak English, but they speak other languages, or they do content in other languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
a
they
great
do
point.
speak English, right? So, but I would say because we've had French guys, all these other guys that like technically we're doing podcasts or they're filming at the studio. We technically don't even need to know what they're saying because it's their own content. They're just using the space.
Yeah.
So that's just a thing to note. So maybe leaving it all languages might be best.
And great feedback because it's the clients that you can actually service and
Yes.
deal with at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I think it's all languages to be
So,
honest.
like if I'm on taking sales calls, I only put it to English because I can only speak English. My sales team can only speak English.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I think right now it'll be all languages.
Got it.
Now, also consider your demographic here of South Florida. It is probably going to be a large Spanish speaking, but again, if they meet our other criteria, they're pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where you get into like
Pause
some
for real
of the
quick.
other
I just want
stuff.
my bad. I just want to make sure everything is good on my end. Okay. It's always like that thing of like you check your phone, like everything's like blown up. Okay.
Yeah, you hear the buzz, buzz, buzz.
Okay, we're good to go.
Absolutely. All right, we're back in it. Editor, cut that out. Okay, so getting into the next segment of ads is the Advantage Plus audience segment. Usually I keep that kind of on. I like Facebook to be able to expand a little bit more. Sometimes if I want to hit a very specific audience, I'll do this. So with this, you can basically set a more aggressive age range. You can set some more interest stacks too. So this is where if you want to set the content interest stack, you want to set, business owner interest stacks, you switch to original audience options and it will cut through right here.
Okay. So, but ultimately you like the Advantage Plus audience.
I think that's definitely where I would start right now because again, our strategy on this ad set was to go open.
Got it.
So open means we don't.
Okay.
Usually what I want to do is I would like to test some open.
Got it.
And then I'll also come in here on another ad set and I'll test audiences.
Got it. So the Advantage audience is great for open. If you're doing a specific
Yeah.
interest, you wouldn't use that.
Yeah, because this is basically dude,
Find
let
it
the
for me.
AI find out. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Which again, if you have a good call out in the front end of your ads
It'll
of
find it.
hey, Miami business owners that run content, they will find it.
Got it. So for instance, if someone has a horrible creative, not calling the right audience, and they have that turned on, they would probably complain, oh, why isn't Facebook, whatever, but it's because they have a horrible creative.
Exactly. And they're just going to have to be more patient with the pixel figuring out who they actually want to target, which is going to take some longer. But now the Facebook algorithm is so good that you could have a brand new ad account, no pixel data, brand new Facebook page, and you say, hey, niche, doing XYZ a month or has XYZ qualifier, and it will find those people. It's pretty amazing how good this algorithm is.
Got it.
Because we're good at marketers, but again, their Facebook algorithm is really good.
Got it. Is there a place, and maybe we're coming up on it, I don't know. Is there a place here where you can put exactly that? Hey, like the 50,000 a month, can you put physically there, has to be people making X amount or no?
Great question. So there's two places that you can really put this. You can put this in the text of the ad, so the text that shows below the ad, but the best place to put it is the ad itself.
Got it.
Because imagine if you're scrolling through Instagram and you see an ad that says, hey, is your name Chris? Do you have long black hair, a black beard, and run a content studio? You're going to stop and watch that ad.
Yeah. You're calling me out.
Yeah, you're calling me out. So the best way to do it is that. Because think about it, what you're going to do is, if your name is Chris and you meet all those qualifications, you're going to stop and you're going to watch that ad. So Facebook will take note of that. If your name is not Chris, you don't run a content studio, you're going to keep scrolling.
Got it.
So very quickly, it will only allow people will only watch through if they meet those qualifications. So run them on the front end of your ads.
Got it.
So Miami business owners, that are running content, that are running ads, that are running social media, that make XYZ amount per month, that meet XYZ qualifier, So
Got it.
Those are a couple of the examples. It's like the niche that you're running ads to, it's their revenue levels is a very common one, how long they've been in business, the type of business, the sub-niche, things like that.
Got it. So I guess the recap, so no, you technically can't put it in there, hey, people making this, but in the actual creative itself, you can put it so then people who align with that message or relate to it can click on it. Facebook realizes, oh, these are the type of people, and it will target more of those type of people.
Yeah, so I want to clarify, you can still put it in the text, but it's just so much more effective to have it in the beginning of your
Well,
video or on the creative.
And when I mean like on text or on here, I mean like an actual like option, like the the languages or the interest. Like there's not a place there, to put that.
Yeah, it depends on what the niches are, and specifically, like for us, if we're targeting chiropractors, there is a way to switch in here and see chiropractic owner.
Got it.
So again, it's like this is why it's
But
so
not
important.
making a
test
certain
things
amount
out.
though. So I guess
Yeah, but not making a certain amount.
Okay.
You can do income targeting on these ads, but again, that's the only thing that you'll be able to do other than front end call out.
Got it.
Because here's the thing, if you call out 50K a month people in your ads, you're going to get 20, 30K that'll probably respond to it as well.
Got it.
If you call out 10K a month, you're going to get 5K a monthers.
Got it.
It's like when you have a call out, there's still people below that will opt in. It's hilarious.
Got it.
So on the back end funnels, which is again why I like to write funnels, because if they click on one of the survey questions in our funnel, they can go to a DQ page, which is a Loom video that says, hey, I got good news, I got bad news. The bad news is we can't help you. We typically don't help people in your age range or in your income range. But the good news is if you do have excess capital, you've exited a business, or you have some prior experience that you think would not make you the normal person at this revenue level, you can book a call below.
Got it.
And then that call does not trigger the Facebook pixel at all. Because I don't want I don't want those crap leads fucking up my Facebook pixel.
So on your actual landing page or funnel, you have it set up to where those calls don't even trigger. It would be if they click on the pre-qualify, whatever I make, the exact amount you call out, those people would be tracked, not the ones on the DQ.
Because then not only are only those people booking your calls, but then the people that book calls that are qualified is what's feeding the data back to Facebook and telling them, hey, I want more of these. Because a lot of people don't do that. They open up the floodgates and then they get a lot of shit quality people because Facebook is like, hey, we're just winning, we're doing volume, and you haven't told us that you only want to target these high-level people. So a very important thing as well. Crazy. We'll get into that in another ad set, but for right now, we're going to keep this one open. Now, here's something that I absolutely change every single time. When I'm running video ads especially. When you're running some graphic ads, you can get away with this a little bit more and run Advantage Plus. If you guys are new, like running ads, you're watching this, you can leave this open. It's not an insanely big deal, but I run video ads for 90% of my ads, so I make this change, which is placements. So think of this as like where you want the ad to be seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit edit, and then instead of just all the placements, I'm going to go to manual placements.
Got it.
And the reason why is I'll kind of show you here. So what I'm going to show you guys is like, it'll say your feeds, stories, and reels, right?
Yeah.
So what this will notice is like, let's see this, for example, this ads on Facebook Reels. If you see this, by default, it'll get checked or it'll go through all the other placement options, right? When you do all placements. But look, you think, oh, this is good. This is the ad. This is not the ad. This is the ad, which means it's an ad on a reel, like right here. So if I'm running a video ad, why the hell would I pay Facebook to put my video ad in the bottom corner right here? So what we do here is we're going to turn off everything, and by default, this is all on. Now, keep in mind, you're running Instagram ads, so it's only going to target Instagram. When you run traditional funnels, it'll also have Facebook and Instagram on. So keep that in mind. That's why we set up Instagram DM ads, so that's why it's only set up that way.
Got it.
As well too. Okay, so we have your Instagram feed. I'm just going to cut down to feed, stories, and reels by default. So I'm going to turn off Explorer. We're only going to run to feeds, stories, and reels. And then by default, it'll have Facebook ads, but again, we're only running to Instagram DM ads.
Yep.
Okay, so that's everything from the ad set level. This is usually a majority of the media buying, right? This is the stuff where a lot of people will fuck up and waste a lot of money. So again, we ran our ads open. We ran them 18 plus. We ran them in 10 miles from Miami. And then we also went English. No, we went
all languages.
All languages. Okay, so this is where we like to see the naming convention. I like to see that because when I look at the ads manager, I can see the exact sections that we used to determine the success.
Got it. And
of
if
that
we
ad.
had a certain interest, if we were doing
Yeah.
it, we would put it there.
Exactly. And this is, again, you know me, I'm a little OCD about this stuff, so I like to be very organized
Yeah.
and see what exactly I'm running towards.
Got it.
So we're running an open ad set, 18 plus. We're running it within 10 miles of Miami, and we're running it to all languages, right?
Yep.
So again, Instagram direct. We already set up the account. Sometimes they have to set up an account, but it's already linked to this one. Max number of leads. We set the daily budget at 25. It's starting right now. We ran and put in your address. We put in a 10-mile radius of your studio. We did 18 plus, and then we did all languages. We left Advantage Plus audience on, and then we did manual placements, which just means feed, stories, and reels, since we are doing vertical video ads.
Yep.
Now, let's get into the fun stuff.
I thought that was the fun stuff.
This is fun. We haven't started yet. Now we're talking about the actual ad. We just spent all the time setting up the ad. Now we get into the actual fucking ad that we're about to run. All right.
Does this feel like home for you, like the ad manager?
Oh yeah. I know this like
The back of your hand?
like the back of my hand as well too. So I like literally just from spending so much time in there. It's probably like I can imagine the same way you feel inside of like Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Or DaVinci Resolve. Like
Yeah.
you probably know all the crazy shortcuts and like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm like, I know where to cut a clip and that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's the zone of genius that you guys have,
Yeah, I love it.
which is definitely interesting. So the ad's name, usually I'll like call this like talking head, UGC, I'll talk, you know, whatever differentiating factor you had about that ad.
Got it.
I'll call it that one. So, like, what would you call the video ad that you were predominantly running your most successful ad?
We could probably just call it like, can we call it like something like first head talking ad or something, or like original head talking ad or something like that.
And then usually what I like to do is put the date too.
The date of when you ran this ad?
Yeah, when I launched it. Yeah.
Or when you launched it, okay. So then you have the campaign, you have the, what was the second one?
Ad set.
Ad set, and then now this is the ad, the ad itself.
The ad itself, right?
Got it.
Perfect. Okay, so this is where you go in and make sure it's set up on the page, which again you do at the ad set level, so it's already connected to correct Instagram. What you can do is you can do a couple different things right here, which is like single image ad or video and carousel. We're going to do single image or video. If you want to get complex, you can do dynamic creative as well. But don't worry about a lot of that stuff right now. Just to keep things simple, we're just going to do single video ad on this section. Okay. Now, right here, we're missing an image. We actually need to have the ad.
Got it.
So you can click image or video ad. For this one, it's a little bit interesting. Usually it'll pop up right here because you're running Instagram DM ads. So this is kind of like you're setting up a specific section inside, like running a post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll do it where it's like primary text right here, and then call to action, and then headlines. So it'll look a little bit different when you run lead forms and you run other different types of ads as well too. So what's cool about, you know, this one, for example, is we're going to run a video ad. Now the primary text, this is what goes below the ad. So think about like when you post a normal post on Instagram, you have the video and then you have the text below.
Got it, yeah.
So this is pretty important. What I want to do is I want to actually go in and see what we can potentially see here.
Viewers, yeah.
Is the caption that you used on this ad itself. No, it doesn't want to load for us.
If you go on, since it was a boosted post, it's already on Instagram itself. So yeah, if you just go Instagram, and if you click
this one.
Yep. And if you go to the captions there, that's pretty much it.
Okay, what we're going to do is, like, it's much easier for us to copy this over And let's start with this. I definitely want to make some adjustments, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay, now the first thing that we absolutely have to do in the video ads is what? What's the
Call
first
out.
thing? Call out. So
Yep.
we gotta do the same thing on the text.
Got it.
So you did a good one, which is you're calling out the problems that they deal with, right? But I want to call out like the exact person and then their problem first.
Got it.
So mine
That
would be
makes sense.
like chiropractors doing 20K a month or more.
Got it.
So for this one, we would probably say like Miami business owners. And then what we can say is we want to take a second to think about this, but filming content, running ads, doing the social media thing. We want to find a call out for that. So it's like,
Got it. It's really business owners who struggle with filming content. So a lot of them, I guess some of them do film content. Our studio is just great for people who struggle with doing it.
you just got it. That's it. Miami business owners
Yeah,
that struggle with filming content.
exactly.
So sometimes I'll add like a little.
And it actually flows with like what we have. Are you exhausted from? So you think emojis in your primary text are a good idea?
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
kind
I
of.
usually don't like, it's a branding thing too, but
Yeah.
like I add them because like, dude, just like right here is pretty good. We have the bullet points.
Yeah.
It can just help visually break it up a little bit
it.
more. Because if it's all just straight text,
It's
let's
hard.
be honest, nobody can read that shit.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I like to do in the beginning too is I'll do like the
I'm
alert.
curious what emoji you put for the first one.
I do like an alert emoji.
Okay. There you go, alarm.
So you can do the exclamation points, you can do the bell, you can do the alert.
What do you? Yeah, whatever you think.
I like the alert emoji.
I think they're in the wrong spot.
And then I usually do one in the beginning. And do one in the mid. What we're also going to do is make this one uppercase.
And do you still do that, like the alarm? You'll still do that for like even the agencies? Yeah, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Got it. So do you think that's like a minor thing where most people won't think of in terms of like putting emojis and the way they space it and the way they write their text?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to like, the truth is 90% of the results you'll get from ads is going to be from two things: the creative and the actual audience that you're targeting.
Got it.
That's where you want to put 90% of your effort at the end of the
Got it.
day. But then, once we have that figured out, which we just dialed in, now we get that extra 10%. And this is where that extra 10% comes into play.
Got it.
So really calling out and speaking to their problems.
Got it.
So here's one of the things I noticed about your ad that I would say is really good in the beginning, which is like right now you started calling out a problem. Hey, are you exhausted from setting up your own lights, camera, and microphones only to end up with imperfect results? So you're calling out an issue that they're dealing with. I love that. Now you say frustrated with the time it takes to edit videos and get the audio right again, calling out the problems that they're dealing with. Now you say at Content HQ, we eliminate all of these headaches. And then you say from expert lighting setups, skilled camera operators, seamless editing, crisp audio, beautiful customizable sets, we do everything for you. So this is a good caption, but here's what I would say is you want to be aware of in your ads. You won't want to sell the service, you want to sell the transformation that the service gives them. So when you say like for example, with us, we could say like, hey, we're going to run your ads. We're going to run unique targeting or algorithm ads that do this, this, and this. And then we're going to run the highest converting funnels. And like we get too much into the service.
Got it.
Versus we're like, hey, you want highly qualified patients. Imagine you have had financially qualified patients pre-booked on your calendar without you having to lift a finger.
Got it.
Now that's a transformation that our service gives them.
Got it.
As well too. So we want to think about like three of those things of like, what the transformation actually gives them. So not necessarily your service, but what do these things do for them?
Got it.
So let's kind of map out like this, like what would some of these transformations that would occur, like they'd have really high quality branding. They would be able to stand out in their marketplace. High production.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of these things? Let's work it through.
So okay, let's backtrack it to the ideal person. Cause at least for me, I'm trying to think what would resonate, or because I feel like these pain points, because that kind of is the transformation is they're going from, because really what we're selling is the done for you experience of not having to do your own content. So you're going from no light setups or having no light setups, no cameras, don't know how to use a camera, don't know how to set up lights, all that, to going to a place that knows how to have proper lighting. You have a skilled camera operator, so you don't have to learn how to do operate a camera. You don't have to do any editing. So I guess you can kind of let me know what would be best.
Yeah, I think that some of these would be okay. So like from expert quality, expert lighting setup, it's like, I would say like expert lighting, or maybe like expert production with no work, right?
Yep. Got it.
Skilled camera operators is like,
You can even say like, would you say something like you don't need to know how to use a camera, or more?
yeah, exactly. Now we're talking here.
Yeah.
And again, when you write copy for your ads, another thing that a lot of people do is a lot of people like use these big fancy words that they know in their industry, and it can like overwhelm the people. Like if you were like, we'll optimize your f-stop and your aperture and get that bokeh effect. Nobody knows what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
And sometimes people try to promote it as like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. People aren't going to buy the product that they think is like the craziest. They're going to buy the product that they understand. So you want to like dumb it down to like third grade level language and make it really quick and easy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Really quick and easy. Like even now we say production, I might say like even dumb it down like visuals. Expert visuals with no work. No camera experience, content experience team. Seamless editing and crisp audio. So this one could be like, I think this one I like is like, maybe another synonym for expert. But you're like influencer level editing at the click of a button or some things like that, right?
Got it.
Beautiful customizable sets could be like, I would say like instead of like movie level production, something like that. We could play around with this again.
Yeah. I feel like sets are good though, because some people do want like different sets. So I do like extra visuals and no camera.
So again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break this one down. I'm also gonna break these into stacks like this, so it's just visually they can see the bullet points a little bit quicker.
Got it.
Now, again, I don't want to spend, we could spend 30 minutes on this call just going deep into this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend too much time on this. I think this is generalized good. Now, here's what I would say goodbye to your content struggles. Let us eliminate content forever. I look forward. Now, this is usually where I want to reiterate with the offer.
Yep.
There's a couple of things that I would say. The biggest thing right now that I'm noticing is a call to action at the end.
Yep.
So there needs to be a book with us today. There needs to be a set call to action at the end, which is usually click the link below for more information.
Got it.
Now, if you have a call to action of the next step they want them to take, what is the next step? Obviously, book with us is like the later down, but what do we have to do before that? You have to click the link and send us a message.
Got it.
So
you would do click the link down below to book, or click.
So if we're running a DM ad,
Got it.
Say for this DM ad, what they'll do is they'll have the DM and it'll be like DM us the word content. That'll probably be it.
Got it.
content. And then when they DM, they'll click on it and they can auto click content and just send it really fast.
Got it.
So usually what you'll want to say is like D. And then you have the next step, and then I like to add a little scarcity to it.
Got it.
So this could be like, we can only accept one person per industry. We can only take on one client per area. We can only handle 3 clients per week. A little bit of scarcity to it is always a little bit nice. What do you think is like a scarcity component that we might be able
That's
to
a good
use
thing.
for
So obviously this is more a retail space, so in the studio. So let's see what urgency we can create. We could do even something where like some sort of like discount for the first X amount of people or something like that.
So I was going to relay them into that. That is interesting, where it's like, that's more of an offer thing. Because in this, you're like, one of the things that I was going to mention right after we finish the call to action is like, there's not a straightforward offer in this caption.
Yeah.
Like an offer is like pay per patient, $47 new patient visit. It's like book your first consult for X amount.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to really pop, you can say like, are you exhausted from this, frustrated with this? At Content HQ, we eliminate all the headaches, and we're doing something crazy. For the next 5 people that DM us the word content, we're giving away a first visit session for X price. So you could do a special discounted offer. That's an offer, right? That's like, okay, this could be a limited time thing that gets me more incentivized to click into that ad.
Got it. So do you think, and you can let me know if this is a good strategy or not, do you think it's good to run something like this that's a little bit more generalized, that can kind of whatever hit more people, and then do other campaigns that are more like offer specific? So you can test both of like, hey, let me go more general, or it's just more calling a pain point, come to Content HQ, and then we can do another version where it's like, hey, offer limited time, et cetera, and then we can make another creative specifically for that. Do you think that's a good thing to test out?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you always want to test different things out, especially when you just start to run ads, which will be a couple different things. It's like discounted first rate, buy 2 sessions, get 1 free kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bigger package discounts, add-ons. Like you can play around with a lot of those offers, right?
Got it.
And that's something that's definitely worth testing because, shout out to Alex Ramosi for literally writing his first book on offers, because that's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. One of the things you can say is, if you don't want to have like a direct scarcity component, you can say DM us the word content for more information. DM us the word content.
Actually, can we just DM the word studio?
Perfect. I still would add another point, which is like, maybe 3 to 5 new clients. How many is a tough number of new clients for you to handle a week?
Probably like 10 would be a little tough.
Okay, we might want to 10 is like where it starts getting tough. We might want to add a little bit more. I'm gonna say like 7.
Yeah.
And you can say like, our spots are filling up fast, things like that. You can also add one of those little like down emojis to, again, just be like, hey.
So I'm assuming just in generalized psychology, it's just always better to add some sort of scarcity, because it gives them the incentive to actually like somewhat feel like they should do it now, compared to like if you don't add the urgency, they just kind of like, oh, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, because like they'll see the ad and you're like, okay, this is cool. But then if they see the ad and like, this is a limited time, it's just like, adds that like, okay, I need to move a little bit forward on this.
Yeah.
Adds a little bit of scarcity, which again, think when we play around with the offer of like testing out specials, first visit, buy 2, get 1 free, upsells, add-ons kind of things.
It can even get a little bit more complex. That once, like, let's say you run it out like this and your pixel starts to get, I guess, more data, you could retarget those same people with like, different offers and always kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you've been seeing us around. I know that you've been seeing my ads, but you haven't made that decision to actually book in with the studio.
Got it.
What's holding you back? Usually I talk to people, it's this, and this. So it's like you can even film completely different ads for those type of people.
So
because they're called what's more like middle to bottom of funnel.
Got it. Yeah. So those are people who are already aware of you. They know you. It's just they just haven't taken the leap.
Exactly. Whereas this is like the first building the interest, and then they'll see this ad.
This is very top of the funnel.
Top of the funnel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then on Facebook Ads Manager, you can run specifically retargeting ads. I'm assuming it's another way to do it, but specifically just retargeting.
Yeah, so you can retarget people that have clicked on your ad and not DM'd you the word. You can retarget the people that have DM'd you the word. You can target the people that have viewed your landing page but haven't booked a call or haven't converted. Those will be pretty good for you. As you get more advanced, like you want to target people that are in different stages of the funnel. So, like I just mentioned, people that have clicked on the ad but didn't DM the word and then clicked out. So that showed some interest, but then they weren't ready to take that next step yet.
Interesting.
So this is cool. Right here, Auto Advantage Creative Text Generation. This will generate more text for you. I think a lot of these are garbage.
Yep.
It's
Can you turn that off?
Yeah, so we turned it off. That's what I was doing.
Okay, got it.
Earlier, so it's off. Usually what I like to do as a general rule of thumb, in an ad set, 2 texts, 2 headlines, and then 4 ads usually.
Got it.
For this one, we'll keep it nice and slim to get things wrong, but usually 2 texts, which you can target like.
And when you mean 2 texts, I guess tell me exactly what you mean by 2 texts. Like,
so you see how this says primary text 1 of 5?
Yep.
So what we can do is, and we can do this right now, you can literally copy the same thing, and then we can say add text option. So now we just add another one, but let's say we just want to change this thing right here, which is how we eliminate headaches. We just want to chase one thing. Yeah. And this is where you can start to split test what performs better. So you can play around with different things.
So you can split test different texts, different TTAs, etc. And does Facebook just put both and try both, and it will kind of put more of the ones that are working?
Exactly, because bringing it back to again, like why you need to run ads in the ads manager is you can see this data. Dude, in the Meta Business Suite, you couldn't even see what your cost per click is. Yeah. So they're not going to show you all this data. But now we can see everything. I can see which ads perform better. I can see which text perform better. I can see every single aspect of my ads because I want that control and I want that knowledge, which is very valuable.
Got it.
Boom, we got primary text rocking.
So what was the rule of thumb you said? So it was 2 texts?
Yeah, it was 2. So it was 2 texts, 2 headlines, and then 4 ads.
Okay, so 2 texts are basically these, so 2 of these texts. Okay.
A headline is a little bit different for this ad style. You're not going to see it. Why? Because we're running message ads.
Got it.
So a text is like, you'll see the ad creative and then there'll be a little headline above it.
Got it.
That'll say something like $49 new patient special or book your appointment now.
Got it.
That just reiterates your offer. So.
Got it.
But right now, for this one especially, we have 2 texts.
Yeah, keep it simple.
We have, and then we have just your call to action. So right here on your call to action, again, we're running DM ads, so it looks a little bit different. We're running send Instagram message as the call to action. Yeah. So it'll say, click to send message. All right, primary text. Again, that's a big component of this section. So now we're going to go to actually adding the media and the ads. Now, look at that handsome guy right there on the video. I don't know if they can see that. That's a beautiful guy right there.
Resume in.
That's a beautiful guy right there. Hold on. I just got to see if it'll pull up. If it'll pull up that original creative. Look at that handsome guy right there. Look at that handsome guy.
Filming ads.
Filming ads, right?
You'll see those ads.
100%.
Okay, so yeah, this is interesting. So if I want to find that ad that we have on our Instagram, does it allow you to?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on. I'm gonna have to click done, and then I'm gonna have to go in and edit this again. From this screen, next thing we're gonna do is select the media. So you can find the specific videos
It's actually not that
that
one.
you have right there. And we are rocking. So finally uploading. Sometimes they take a second to process, but we can go ahead to the next stage. Everything looks good. Again, the current length of the video for a video ad, that looks pretty good. I try to keep them under a minute. If you'll notice that the longer your video ad gets, the usually the drop off. You can't have that like, it's not like it was back in the Ty Lopez days where you could just go in and have like a, hey, welcome to my garage, and then also look at this pool and look over here, and then, oh, I'm going to tell you the secret. It's like, we're running direct response ads. We got to get right into it.
Got it.
So we're competing with the most viral content on the face of the planet. So we always do, under a minute for ads, ideally.
What does that say? 30 what?
39 seconds.
Okay, cool. So that's
definitely pretty good.
Yep.
Another big hack for ads, speed them up. 1.1, 1.2x speed.
Yeah.
Because it'll cut 10, 20% off of the runtime of your ad. Huge hack that we do. I've talked to that a bazillion times as well too. Okay, we're gonna have this one next. No enhancements. You can do enhancements. We're not gonna do that. It's already pretty well edited, we should say.
Yeah.
And rock and rolling. All right, so it's gonna upload there. We got our primary text. Boom, boom. It's uploading and finalizing the media right there. We have our call to action of send Instagram message as well too. So this is pretty cool. From message templates. This is pretty cool. This is where you actually set up where instead of like on the right you see where it'll say send message.
Yeah.
You can set up to like send a specific message. You can even create like a couple of questions off of that, like and automate some of the stuff. So like some of the stuff that it sends after it, sends that initial message. So sometimes when you like click on it, it's like, hey, we'd like to know how to help you. Please answer a couple quick questions, things like that.
Got it.
And then it can answer some questions and go through there.
Got it.
Or completion of the message.
Do you usually recommend for this style of ad to have some sort of automation or some sort of sequence?
So here's the thing. I personally don't like to do them actually in Facebook. I like to use either ManyChat or GHL if you're going to do an automated sequence.
Got it.
That triggers off of these. So in GHL, there's now a trigger where like if they message you a certain word, it can replace ManyChat.
Got it.
But as you know, we have a lot of friends that use a lot of ManyChat at a high level. You're pretty familiar with ManyChat.
Yeah.
That's where I would say,
Got it.
you can have ManyChat opt in the first couple of questions, and then from there, you can have a DM setter take over. But I usually want a DM setter to take over pretty quickly.
Yeah, of course.
So a good buddy of mine like Tanner Chister that's done millions of dollars over Instagram DMs, he'll automate the first two questions and then have a DM setter come in there and attack the qualified people.
Got it.
Right? But it depends on the balance that you have.
And what do you do with when you say attack the qualified people, what about the non-qualified people?
You can either DQ them, you can send them a message, you can non-reply. That's really relative to you and how much time you have available overall. Because when DMs have a high amount of volume, there can be some lower quality in there.
Got it, yeah.
So, for example, we run these ads for a week or two. You come back to me and you say, hey, Nathan, ads are performing really well. I'm getting a lot of volume, but the quality isn't there. I'm like, okay. Let's move to lead forms. Let's move to funnels, landing pages, and we can fix those problems pretty quickly.
Got it.
But don't just be like, hey, these ads aren't getting the best quality, and then go into, just be like, oh, ads don't work.
Got it.
Because ads don't do work, and we all know people like myself that make millions of dollars off of Facebook ads. What it is loading the media right now should be loaded here in the next couple seconds. But now we have two primary texts, and then we have the call to action, which is send an Instagram message, right? Turn ad preview on so we can see the video when it pops through. Now tracking, this is where you add some kind of pixel, you add some kind of message template, or you add some kind of pixel, you add some kind of URL parameters, which if you use your CRM, you can track exactly which ad that lead came from inside of your CRM, which can allow you to also, look at what ads lead to sales on the back end. So that's another way to look at that,
Got it.
which is pretty cool.
So explain a pixel to me. In the
Yeah,
dumbest way, I guess.
yeah, it's a great question because it's arguably one of the most important things for running ad accounts, because now you don't have, when you just boost posts, you don't really have a pixel. Yes, you have Facebook collecting data on who interacts with your Instagram page,
Yeah.
but you don't have a pixel at the end of the day.
So go.
So a pixel is essentially, think of it as when you run ads, Facebook is collecting the data on every person that opts into your ads and every point of the ad cycle in the funnel that they opt into. So the pixel can track who looks at your ad, who views your ad, who views it for 3 seconds, who views it all the way through, who clicks on your ad, who responds to your ad, who books in a call, who lands on the landing page, who turns into sales,
Got it.
right? So the pixel data is arguably like one of the most important aspects to the ads overall.
So you say a pixel is basically kind of like, let's say, like a chat GPT, where the more info you feed it, it gets to know more about you, the way you speak, your tonality, etc. So it basically knows the ins and outs of the type of customers, the one you like, the ones you don't like, etc., where you can feed it all this info and grow it into this thing where it pretty much knows everything about your business and what type of audience, etc.
Exactly, man. And that pixel is so valuable. So what you'll notice is like the more seasoned a pixel is, you call it seasoning a pixel, the more data it has, the easier it is, like right when you launch ads, to crank. So if you have a brand new ad account, a brand new Facebook page, brand new Instagram page, and you turn on ads, it might take Facebook a little bit longer to figure out who your audience is.
Got it.
But then as you spend more on ads, as you run more different types of funnel conversion events, etc., that pixel starts to pick up some serious data points.
Got it.
And allows them to really hone in on who is responding to you overall and lock in that audience more and more. So it's pretty good. So right here we can do two things. We can set up like a message template, which is like, hey, a welcome message. So there's two ways to do this too that we'll kind of show. Right now you can say, like, they can say, are you interested in our products or service? So it says like a little welcome message.
Yeah.
Right here, hey, we'd like to know how we can help. Please answer a few questions and one of our representatives may follow up with you. So that's a pretty good one by default. We can always play around with it. Another one you can say is like, are you interested? And then it'll respond, are you interested in a product or service? They can say yes or not now. And
Yeah,
then
we can even do a simple, or
yeah.
I was gonna say a simple, and maybe like, hey, are you interested in booking our studio? Are you interested in shooting content in our studio? Question mark. Maybe something simple just for today's video.
Are you interested in filming content in our studio? They say yes. What we can do is like, I think at there is where you should complete it. So you can, cut off the next, you see where it says like, oh, what city are you in? We're going to delete that one.
Should we do one, and you can let me know, should we do one more where it says, okay, great, that sounds amazing. What type of content are you looking to film? Podcast, reels? Or do you think that's too much qualifying and it just should be like, okay, cool, here, book your studio?
So here's the thing that I would say, like, right, if they're going to say the same thing, like if you're going to train a DM setter that anytime they say yes, he's going to send the first message is the same thing, then you can automate it, right?
Yeah.
So if the next message that you're going to train the DM setter to send is like a pre-scripted message, then that's the whole point of automation, to automatically send that.
Got it. So then I would automate it then.
So then you can automate it. And then once they respond to that will be a little bit more dynamic, and that's harder to automate that response.
Got it. So for example, this would be a good automation to put, are you interested in filming content in our studio? Yes. Okay, great. Sounds amazing. What type of content are you looking to film? That we can automate, because that would be the first message I would have my setter. But like you said, we might as well automate it, because then the message after that, when they're like, oh, I'm trying to do podcasts, that's when we can be like, more personal, like, oh, amazing, cool, like, how long you been doing it, why us, whatever.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is set up a custom question, and that question text can be like,
are you looking to film in our studio, question mark? And then they would say yes. Then the second would be like, okay, amazing. What type of content are you looking to film? And I also want to do that because I don't want to just send them to like okay, great, here's the link. I want to kind of make it seem like more like we're having a conversation. So I think this,
Exactly.
I think the second message would be great. So, but amazing with icon. And I would also put like, because sometimes they might not even know. I would put more like podcast, reels, course material, question mark, something like that. Okay, that's great. Yeah, we help with podcast, reels, ads, course material, or courses.
I think it might, like, to make it easier, we might say amazing. We help with blank. What type of content are you looking to film?
Yeah, fire.
Boom. Okay. And then this is where you can have completion messages or something like that, or that's like, thanks for answering
Yeah.
our questions. We'll contact you, let you know what happens next. That says off of that. So right now, they go through here, question text, and then you can decide to go to like a completion message, disqualification message. So this is also where we can set up, like right here when they said no, like not now. Again, this is just, hey, something we might want to set up now while we're doing it. So if they say no, you can say disqualification message. Thanks for your interest. Please let us know. Something like that.
Yeah, that's good. We're giving away some sauce right now.
Dude, whether you're like A to Z on running an account.
Yeah.
No, this is sick.
And this is extremely valuable.
Absolutely. So we have disqualification. Another thing is like the completion message.
Yeah.
So for this one, if you like, this can be like, thanks for answering our questions. We'll let you know. You can also leave this blank because I think you might want to have your setter go in there at that point. I don't think it'll force us to have one. No,
Yeah.
We're good. Sometimes it'll force us, so we'll just leave that blank. Boom. There it is.
There we go.
Well, there it is. Okay, so we got the welcome message. Hey, we'd like to know how we can help you. Please answer a few questions so one of our representatives may follow up with you. Are you interested in filming content at our studio? They say yes. Amazing. We help with podcasts, reels, ad courses, and more. What type of content are you looking to film? Then they answer that custom question, and then your setter will take over at that point. If they say no, then it sends a DQ message at that point.
Yep. Amazing.
Alrighty. Let me see here. We've accepted a privacy policy. Do you have a privacy policy on your main website?
I don't know if we've updated. I don't think we have one right now. We need to put one.
All right. So as a ninja hack, you didn't hear this from me, but you can look up Facebook privacy policy, and you can copy this link for your privacy policy link. Again, ninja hack. They don't know, it won't hurt them, but that's the way you can get it with having to put a link in this segment as well too. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll, right? You can preview the message, but now we're going to go ahead and hit save as well too. Is it going to force us to have a completion message? It might. So here's what we can actually do that I think will be interesting. Maybe instead of doing the custom question, what we can do is we can have that. We can say when they go to this, and then the completion message will be that one.
Got it.
Okay, so we get around that. Usually it lets you sometimes remove this, but it wants to be a pain now. So it'll do the same thing.
Got it.
You just double check. Yes. Go to completion message.
Which would be that message.
No. DQ.
Got it. Boom. And you can save it as a template as well.
Yeah, one of the things you want to note is like just like with lead forms, Facebook is pretty anal about this. Once you click save, you can't adjust it again. You can't edit these things again. So
you can't edit this template again.
Yeah. So it's annoying. What you have to do is you have to duplicate it and then make your change.
Got it. So it won't let you do the original one.
Yeah, just like with lead forms. because then it'll screw up data on the back end for them. But
Got it.
again, we'll find we double checked anything.
Got it.
So we got it and we are good to go. So now we have our automated chat as well too. So again, like when you need to duplicate it and adjust it, you can duplicate it and edit it as well too. All right. We got, the media is still loading in. There's no way. Sometimes it'll get stuck at this processing thing for a lifetime. So now we just use our valuable time for this scroll bar to open, and we're good. How's all this sound to you so far, Chris?
Pretty good, bro. Definitely a lot, but I could see I don't say it's simple, but it's pretty straightforward. It's like the little nuances that most people might not know or do that could really screw them up. So it's like, it seems simple to run, but probably hard to master.
Yeah, like, and again, Facebook, like, I don't want to, roast you too much for doing the boost post, because the things is like, that is meant for people that like, hey, I understand I don't know all this back end crazy stuff, but I just want to get my ads out there a little bit more. But then, so it is sometimes a good strategy for beginners to get their ads out there.
Yeah.
But as we grow and scale, we want to, start to level up and get things more dialed in.
Yeah.
Tweak things here and there.
That makes sense.
As well too. So
Maybe we might have to go.
What's that?
I was saying, maybe we got to re-put the media in there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. We'll try to duplication and then.
Oh, is it that little circle that's like filled? Is that?
Yeah, that just shows. This just shows that it hasn't been completed yet.
Oh, so it's still
there's
loading
a
in the media?
stage that hasn't been completed yet.
Freaking crazy.
All right. One thing that I'm gonna adjust to, because of the DM strategy that we use, there's two ways to do them.
Oh,
you can have them DM a certain word, or you can have them opt in. I think the opt in that we mentioned.
Yeah, it's better.
It's probably easier for you. So instead of saying DM us the word studio, I'm gonna say DM us.
For more information.
Below. All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because this one will be really nice for you as well too, because it'll automate the first like few messages, and then your DM setter can see, oh, this person said, hey, I'm looking to film a podcast at this date, probably a good freaking lead. Versus somebody that's like, what do you guys do again? Or just asking some dumbass questions.
Got it.
You know where to allocate your time, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, once the video uploads, you have pretty much everything set up. So we have the video that's uploading right now that will pop up on the right here shortly. Then we have all the primary text, the two primary texts that we added. And then we have the call to action at the bottom. We had set up the automated chat sequence right here. So we are good to go. And as soon as that video gets uploaded, we're going to hit publish in the bottom right. And then that one's lock it and then load it. So here's usually another thing that I will do. So we have, again, our campaign, we have our ad sets, and then we have our actual ad right here. So what I'll do is I'll usually launch a couple different ad sets, because you can have two ad sets with the exact same targeting and they pick up completely different audiences. Because like I mentioned earlier, when Facebook launches an ad, it will show it to a certain few people, create a lookalike audience of those people, and then expand beyond that.
Yeah.
So it's important to run like multiple different ad sets. So usually what I'll do is, like, we have everything nice and clean, ready to rock and roll. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and then I'm going to quickly duplicate. So we can either make an exact copy of this one, or let's say we want to test 12 miles, right? So we're going to go in and have everything set up the exact same, but instead we want to go 12 miles. So we have the 12 mile section, and then we just update our ad set section as well. In terms of overall budget, how much do you think you're able to spend a day consistently on ads?
How many ads total are we going to do?
It's relative to, again, your daily, but it's easier to find like, okay, I can spend around X amount per day and reverse engineer from that.
an average booking, one booking is $450. That's just one single booking. So for this purpose of this video, to make it simple, what do you think? Maybe we do, yeah, I don't know. We could do 10, 20 each, 30. It really doesn't matter to me, to be honest. We're talking about budget-wise.
Great question right here. So when we want to think how much we need to spend to ads to acquire a client, the direct answer to that is like, or the term for that is cost to acquire a client, or CAC.
Yeah.
Also known as CPA, cost per acquisition. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
CAC and CPA are the same thing, right? So it's like, how much are we going to spend to acquire a client on ads? The first booking is $450. Now there's one really important concept that I want a lot of people to grasp, which is a lot of people when they run ads, they would say, okay, my first booking is $450. I need to get my cost to acquire well below $450, right?
Yeah.
But you also are thinking of your first front end cash. And the big people think of LTV,
Got it.
which is like a client that books in a studio session with you isn't worth just $450.
Agree.
Because they're more likely to come back. They also have upsell potential into your short form content agency, into coaching, into all this other thingy that you can upload and lock and load them to as an extension ladder. So you definitely want to consider your LTV of the client.
Got it.
So when you say, oh, I can only afford $450, but then if your LTV is 10, 20, 30K, then you're like, wow, I can afford a few $1,000s per booking.
Yeah.
So now, again, it's a very important concept to open up, because a lot of people are like, dude, I spent 10 grand on ads and I only made 10 grand back. But they're like, you're not just getting that 10 grand, you're getting the LTV of that customer for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more than 10 grand. So
Got it.
that's something to consider. If we had a direct metric of your LTV, usually we were talking at dinner earlier about CAC to LTV ratio. Again, this is pretty advanced, but it's very important to understand now. It's like, what does it cost to acquire a client, and what is that client worth for me overall?
Got it.
So you'll want to have some kind of spreadsheet that you can track. Hey, we spent X amount on ads and we got X amount of booking from ads and DMs.
Got it.
We got pretty much everything ready to rock and roll. The text, the primary text has been added, the call to action has been added, the message template has been set up. With this one, we don't have to do any crazy, tracking. URL parameters is something more advanced that links into your CRM and tells them exactly where the ads came from. But again, for these DM ads, you don't really have to worry about that too much. So what we did is we had one ad set that was at 10 miles originally. We duplicated it, went to 12 miles. This is also where you maybe test out 24 plus, or you test out another interest stack, which just really quick, I wanted to show you, if you wanted to do that, like say instead of open, we wanted to go more broad, what we can do is reset the start date. Instead of right here, we just switch to original audience options. So say Facebook is like, dude, just let me figure it out. Like a dad at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Sometimes we know more than them, you know? So we're going to go in and set up our stuff. So this is where we have we can play around with the age a little bit more. We can also check gender. And then we can play around with interest stacks as well too. So you can play around with existing audiences, things like that. You can also go into detailed targeting. So this is where we get into the fun stuff, right? So we can go in and say content. I know content creator, content editor, content manager, content specialist. So there's a couple different types.
Can you put in, if you want to do business owner, could you do business owner?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one thing is though, if you think business owner, it's going to be super broad, right? Because
Does it actually have business owner? Oh.
So it has business owners as employees, job titles. So this is important to understand. You see where it says employers job titles right here? So employers means this is what they work for. So you can target people that work at specific companies. which is pretty interesting, right? Then there's job titles, which is like when they upload their account to Facebook, what is their job title? And then there's like behaviors and interests. So behaviors is like some things that people do online. So this is a pretty broad one. And then there's interests, which is like I'm generalized interested in certain things, right?
Got it.
So that's important to know the difference between a lot of those. Like, for example, behavior of a business page admin is usually a business owner. Business decision maker, that's a little bit too narrow. You see the size right there. It's a little bit narrow. So this is probably where we want to test like.
So what would you recommend?
What I would recommend is there's a couple overall that I would say as suggestions we can kind of go through. So you see like really right off of what you just imported, Facebook is making suggestions. They kind of already understand what you're going through. So you see how it already suggested recording studio, video, cinematography, filmmaking, videography. It already tested some of these, right? Videographer, advertiser marketing. So it read literally what your copy was in the ad and was like, okay, you're probably trying to target these people, and then went to those people, right?
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I mean, I would probably go pretty broad with it. I think like if you have success with content marketing, that's probably a good one to note. Another good one would be like the small business segment that they had. That was probably a pretty good one. But again, these are like things that you really want to test out
Yeah.
as like different things. And again, you see like if they have small business as a school or like as an employer, the audience sizes are a lot smaller than when they have it as an interest stack, right? So we might add a ton of these. Usually I'll add like a broad one that's like a ton of these all put in together.
Got it.
And then from there, you can add a narrow interest stack, which is like we'll find the one that works and we'll test out like one ad set with content marketing, one ad set with small business owners, one ad set with videographers, like, and then test each one of them individually.
Got it.
So this is where being patient, spending more money is lucrative on ads. But like say what I want to test is like open versus this one. This was the one that you said that you tested when you did segments here. So it's probably indicative of it working here. Now another thing that we might do though is I might pull back this age because I don't know any 65 plus people that are cranking out content all the time. So I always ask the question, I asked you what was the youngest person you have in? Who's the oldest person you have?
Probably like 50. Around 50.
Yeah, I was like, what, Mark Shapiro?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
How old
Some of
is
these
Mark?
other realists, I have no idea, but I think maybe he might be even older than 50.
So we could definitely cut it back to like 55 maybe.
Yeah.
Because 65, that's 65
Yeah,
plus.
Yeah.
Which is always a stupid thing that a lot of people leave on.
Got it.
Right? So now we have a broad interest stack. This is more of like a narrow actually because it just has one. But now we're testing narrow. And then usually what I'll put right here is like content marketing. Because that's the one that we're testing in this segment. So this is where like being patient and testing a lot of these things is important. Okay, so now we've tested, we have an open, we have another open at 10 miles, open at 12 miles, and then we have narrow content marketing sections as well too. So the big thing is as you go and launch these ads, you will now be able to look back inside of the ads manager and you'll be able to see a little bit more data. So cost per result right here is going to be the main metric you want to track. So I see I have my campaigns, I have my ad sets, and I have my ads right here, right? So what I want to go is ad sets and I can judge performance. So what I'm going to see is right here, you know, results, reach, impression, cost per result, amount spent. The biggest thing is your cost per result. I can go in and I can update these columns to do whatever metrics that I want them to do.
Yeah. Can we set it up to where you think would be best?
Right now, that's all you really want to track.
Cost per result.
Yeah, cost per result.
Got it.
When you get into funnels, I'll track like cost per lead, cost per funnel. When you track other things, it's like cost per website schedule. But now it's like essentially, look, you didn't even have,
Yeah.
hey, what's my cost per fucking click? Even when like view results, I don't think it even tells you what your actual like, it will tell you a cost per link click right there when you click into it, which
Let me show you.
didn't even tell you that, which is interesting, even though you had 437 link clicks. So yes, you could, divide the total spend by, you could buy $249 by 437 and tell your click, but Facebook just does this for you and it's easier to see. So you can see, hey, this one's getting more messages than this one.
So I guess to ask you this too, so I have clarity on it. Why is cost per result so important? Like, what's the difference if it was $1 versus $20?
Because it's just, as you run ads, you'll be able to see what your average cost per result is, right?
Got it.
So you say like, hey, I've launched ads. My average cost per DM is, let's say, $10 for easy math.
Yeah.
So when I am running ads, I'm checking the ads manager, and all of a sudden I see that it bumps up to $20, $30 cost per message. Now I know that, okay, I probably need to come in here and need to make some tweaks and optimizations.
Got it.
So once you get a baseline for where your KPIs are at, it's like if you post the same organic video and you're like, hey, every time I post, I get on average 10K views. If you post a video that gets 1K views, you're like, I need to tweak some shit.
Got it.
It's the same concept with ads. So when you
Got it.
track your cost per result, you identify a KPI that's kind of your standard, and then anytime you're below that standard, it's time for you to pop it.
So for some certain niches or industry, cost per result might be even higher. Like their baseline would be, instead of like maybe for us with a DM ad, or even if it was another DM ad but a different niche and offer, it could be us at like $10 and they could be at like 50.
Exactly.
Got it.
Because if you're calling out like, hey, millionaires that own plumbing businesses in this zip code, like the crazier your qualifications and more filtered it is,
The more cost.
probably the highest cost
Got
per
it. So
result.
for somebody like us, or what we're doing with a studio for business owners, which is pretty broad. I don't think it's very like that niche down. In Miami, obviously, what would you think a baseline for cost per result would be roughly?
I would imagine you're going to get probably under $10 per DMs.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get probably anywhere from like $3 to $10 ish.
Got it.
I would estimate. Maybe some campaigns up to like $25, $30 cost per message. And that's cost per like first DM, right?
Got it.
So again, you want to optimize for that, but then you also want to look at like back end metrics, which is like, all right, how many of these people are booking? So you can have your appointment setter track how many bookings he's getting.
Yeah.
So if you're spending $100 a day and he's getting 2 bookings a day, that's $50 per booking.
Got it.
Easy math, right?
Got it.
Obviously, it's going to change and be variable.
So question. Say we're running ads, we're getting bookings, all that, but then cost per result starts going up. That basically means, or I guess what would be the reason why cost per results would go up?
You are asking the right questions, my man. It makes it so much easier to explain a lot of this stuff when you're asking great questions. So a lot of people want to get out on just the launching of the campaigns, which that takes me, you can speed run this video and you can literally launch in like 10 minutes. Now you know how to launch a campaign.
Yeah.
So you know how to, step A through Z, launch a campaign.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, again, we were talking earlier about like what makes the difference between a media buyer versus like somebody that's more well advanced, and what are the stages. So the first stage is learning how to launch ads. Second stage is learning how to optimize and tweak those ads.
Yeah.
So to break it down for you, there's really 3 reasons that ads fatigue, what we call as ad fatigue.
Yeah.
There is creative fatigue, which means too many people have seen that ad, it's time to refresh the ad. There is audience fatigue, which means you've run out of people in this individual pocket. It's time to expand or test some new audiences. And then there's offer fatigue. which is a more advanced one that's like that offer is just not resonating with people.
Gotcha.
So 90% of the time, it's going to be creative and audience.
Got it.
Usually, the first fatigue level is audience.
Got it.
So, a lot of people think it's creative, like, oh, well, maybe they're not responding to my creative, but most of the time, you can beat a creative to death, especially when you find a winning creative that crushes, you can beat it to death. Usually, it's audience fatigue. So, the first thing that I do is I'm saying, like, hey, right now, Facebook has pushed it to this audience, and now it's started to fatigue and cost per result, which means that we either need to expand and go to some new people, or I need to like kind of reset into the learning phase. Like I was telling you, when you relaunch an ad set or when you launch an ad set, Facebook will show your ad to a certain amount of people. It will create a lookalike audience of those people and then show your ads to that lookalike audience, right? So what we're going to do is when they fatigue, we will do one of two things. We can either duplicate this ad set, so we can duplicate it, make some adjustments. Say we want to go from 12 miles to 14 miles. Also, you can just straight up duplicate it, make no changes. Because even if you just duplicate it, like I said, we can launch 5, 10 of these ad sets with the exact same setup, and some of them will hit and some of them will not, because they just find better audiences when they launch. Or we can just go in, make an edit to a piece of copy, make any adjustment, and then basically republish the ad. When we republish that ad, it will go through another learning phase and push out to a different audience. So it's either, it's either I'm going to make an adjustment to the ad, republish it, which sends it through that learning phase again. I'm going to duplicate it, make a change, or I'm going to duplicate it and then literally just let it run at the same thing and see if it expands to an audience again.
Got it.
So those are usually how I go through. Now, if I've duplicated it down or if I've expanded it and it's not hitting, I do that a couple times. I try to play around with the audience. I increase the radius. I maybe change the interest stacks and it's still not hitting. That usually means that you're experiencing creative fatigue, which means you've just shown your ad to people in that segment too much to the point where they're starting to get tired of it.
Uh,
And that's when I'm like, okay, I've pushed out to my audiences. It's still not performing. That's when it's time to launch some new creative.
and I'm assuming that time wise or timeline wise, you can some ads that are extremely well done can last a lot longer than others. So, for example, I'm assuming there's ads that even last up to a year. I'm assuming
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have ads that I've ran for clients for a year and a half.
same out.
Same in.
But you would, I mean, I'm assuming even though it's still winter, you probably still do have to do tweaks every week or every month, like maybe small tweaks.
Sometimes you'd be surprised, man. And it's like, if it's B2B, super high ticket, you're probably going to want to play around with it a little bit more. If it's like a B2C, like chiropractor, med spa, whatever,
Yeah.
you can get away with a little bit less. But again, it's like we look at KPIs. So there's a very important rule in marketing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it's running, it's getting you a good cost per lead, a good cost per result, good cost per message, whatever it is you're optimizing for, don't fucking touch it. Let it run until it goes above KPI and then make your adjustments as well. All right, man. Any other questions for me, Chris?
No, I think now is let these ads run, see what the data shows, and then from there maybe do a freaking part two. I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely. Now we can get into the advanced stuff a little bit later on. So let's go ahead and hit publish on this campaign. Let's let it run. Let's let you get some messages immediately in the door. Let's take things to the next level and get you some sales, my friend.